So I'm here at Willow Springs today. It is the first day of shakedown of the S14 for 2024. We've made a ton of changes. So today's goal, like first and foremost, is actually just find anything that's leaking, find anything that's rubbing, find anything that's not working before we even start down the road of actually testing and driver development. It's really just at this point about basic shakedown and see what breaks.
So we just unbolted the car, and now I'm basically starting it and warming it up and making sure there's no additional leaks before we get on the track and start to actually shake it down.
I'm super reminded about why we do shakedown. There's some interesting fuel pump situations that we dealt with, things rubbing that needed to be clearanced that didn't need to be clearanced before, replacing brake calipers right now, small pinhole leaks, just the usual stuff that happens with race cars. So I'm very glad that Andy's here helping me with this stuff because between planning the logistics of season and everything else, it's a lot as one person and lots else to do. So yeah, hopefully today, once we get the calipers sorted and the handbrake bled again, I'll get out on track and everything will be good. We're going to make some changes to the PDM management and get back at it. So the steering was making a noise yesterday and we reduced the rack lash, which seemed to initially make it go away until today when the car was actually running after we encountered a few other issues, not enough boost. With boost, the car feels totally different, totally parties. That's great. Awesome. However, under full lock or close to full lock, the steering gets super heavy and binds and we are not really sure what's going on. It seems like maybe the rack is twisting or twisted or something. So we are firstly adjusting the angle stops, the bump stops, to reduce the angle. Right now I have 5/8 further travel on one side than the other, but it's not on the side where I'm having the problems. And the side that I'm having the problems is less travel, but it's binding quite badly. It's going exactly how testing always goes, which is that we're finding lots of problems, but it's better to find them here than in Atlanta at a much higher speed. We're kind of now getting into a little bit more setup stuff after correcting a lot of the issues that we discovered that were sort of preventing me from fully driving the car. I'm getting to know the new dash and system and all of that, reprogramming my brain for that. And yeah, today it's just the goal is like kill tires, figure out how much fuel it uses, see how the car feels, and maybe make some suspension adjustments. It's going to be great.
You working on?
A better attitude? We're having some issues with a new solenoid for the AccuSump, and we can't tell if it's where the issue is. So right now I'm deleting the valve entirely so that at least I know that the AccuSump can fill. That way it can do its job of holding extra oil, and if my engine is unhappy, feeding it back to it. But unfortunately, I'm doing it under a car in 30-mile-an-hour winds in the desert. So we have this beautiful privacy screen, and luckily we have all kinds of random stuff in the trailer that is very overfull right now, including all the caps for this. When you get a car, you're like, oh, I have the car, everything is good. And then you slowly start to realize, caps are going to really help me when I work on shit, and I need extra lines.
This might be too small, actually.
My life is literally in shambles. I am driving with an AccuSump in my lap because I'm trying to remove a part. The back door of the truck no longer shuts. Possibly I'm losing engine oil pressure. So overall, a great day. Well, this day has been just as
fun as the others. I drove a little bit in the morning. We checked some logs. We saw some interesting things. There's also some question marks about what's going on with the AccuSump. So I just deleted the valve, but that turned into a real production because we needed to borrow equipment from the very high-end team down there to be able to actually get leverage to swap the fittings on the AccuSump. Now my oil cap isn't working, and it's good. It's good. I'm having a good time.
You don't have to be aggressive if you cannot control where you need to be within 10 feet, right?
Yeah.
I should remember that. Last year, your goal was just this.
Yeah.
But if you cannot get to the clipping one, it defeats the purpose.
Okay. Well, I drove the car. I feel much better. I usually do. We are examining engine health to do with oil pressure fluctuations, plus also looking at all kinds of stuff that I didn't know was measured by the ECU and all the sensors that Tyson has put in. But comparing, for instance, lateral G that I just learned what that is, with the oil pressure and how it's fluctuating, as well as how much the oil pressure is fluctuating while the car is on throttle and under boost. We are concerned we might have a problem, but I will find out later because I'm going to change the oil when we finish going through all the data. Aside from, shaking down the car and figuring out how the car is feeling, definitely realized that I needed this refresher on, using both my feet at the same time to drive the car, and also a lot of right foot stuff in general. So that's the plan tomorrow, is working on I actually struggle with focus a lot. So getting back into that zone is what I'm going to be working on tomorrow. My sunglasses aren't any straighter, but neither am I. Time to kind of actually put some runs down, figure out fuel, economy, tire life, etc. Car's feeling pretty good. I'm just going to nut and bolt it. I have some help today from some women that came to my activation at Long Beach, which is super cool. I'm just excited to be surrounded by more people that love what I love and have cool pink Corvettes. There's the car. Where is it? There it is. We are monitoring questionable engine behavior, oil pressure issues that we are still trying to track down. I am contemplating whether or not I try to swap an engine in the next 2 or 3 days. I need to swap a subframe anyway, so what's the big deal? I'm halfway there. Driving feels good. Car overall feels good. It's a different beast, but it's a fun one. So yeah, it's super cool to have Nicole and another person that was at Long Beach with me a couple weeks ago. It's just cool to build this community and have people coming out and their support. It does really feel in a way like the right people show up, and I've been able to create an environment where hopefully I'm giving something to people, and in return that is kind of returning something for me. So trying to stay on positive, get as much tire burning done today as possible before I probably suffer over the weekend. Yeah, there we go.
So yesterday was like just one of those days of like, why? Wow, what else? What's gonna happen? In addition to dealing with the like oil pressure issues and trying to do as much setup as I could in the car with, like balancing are we gonna blow the engine? It was so windy at Willow Springs that I went to open the side door of this trailer, the small trailer, and it literally nearly ripped off and flew away. And we had to spend like 15 minutes fixing it after turning the trailer around to be as out of the wind as we could. But for most of the day, it was just held shut with a ratchet strap. But when it became apparent that I was going to have to bring my Pro car to Howard to get the new old engine put in the next 4 days. Yeah, suddenly that was top priority. But anyway, I'm here. I'm on unloading and bye.